Oh, excellent. Well, welcome to Canes Alumni Biz by CanesWear, and
Thank you.
we will get this thing started. And first, let's tell everybody who you are.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. It's good to see you. My name's Dave Aizer. I went to from 1992 to 1996. I'm a TV host. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm an author. And I'm also a public speaking and media coach. That's primarily what I'm doing these days. I help people, I help companies, I help broadcasters become more dynamic, compelling performers across multiple platforms, virtually, in person, whatever they need.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's fun, though. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, you get to talk to all kinds of interesting people, right?
Every day. Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about helping people with public speaking, because people always ask me, okay, well, what's the one thing that I need to do to be a better public speaker? And what's cool about it is that every person that I work with has a different need or a different challenge than the next person. So some people are scared of public speaking, so you work with them on the anxiety piece. Some people don't prepare well, so you work on that. Some people just can't necessarily write concise bullet points or come up with concise, strong thoughts, so you work on that. And then for some people, they say too much, or they don't know how to use their voice to their advantage. So that's the cool part, is that everybody has different challenges. That's what I like the most about it.
Well, that's great. You're going ahead on my questions. You don't even know my questions.
Sorry. I can't see. I'm a TV host. I can't help it. I answer your own questions for you.
Right. Well, so then we'll go all over the place today. How about that?
You know what? You lead, my friend.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely, I'm good. I can just stay here and I can just nod my head, and you can tell me if I'm nodding correctly or if I'm like not doing the things that I...
Right. No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Excellent. But so who is the most famous person that you can think of that you've worked with?
As a TV host, I'm lucky. I have interviewed some big time celebrities. I think the most famous depends on what niche you gravitate towards. I interviewed John Travolta. He's mega famous. Mark Wahlberg, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. I interviewed Al Gore. So I've interviewed a bunch of Hall of Fame athletes across multiple sports. I've been really lucky. I think the coolest thing, though, is I got to interview my actual childhood hero, which is pretty rare. And he's a sports guy. When I was growing up in New York, I was obsessed with the Yankees. I mean, the world's biggest Yankees fan. And Don Mattingly was the first baseman for the Yankees, and he was my everything as a boy, right? I tried to hit like him. I tried to play defense like him. I even tried to grow a mullet. Everything that Mattingly did, I tried to do. And he's now the manager of the Marlins. And when he got that job a few years ago, I was hosting for the CW, and I got a one-on-one with him. And again, I've interviewed huge megastars, but to sit in a room with your literal childhood hero. And the best part, Ken, is that he was so nice. He was the greatest guy. And that's my favorite. That's my favorite interview I've ever done.
Well, that's great. And you always wonder about that, though, right? Because it could go completely the opposite way. Like, oh, man, why did I like this guy for such a long time?
Right. I was so scared of that. I was like, what if it doesn't go well? And my whole childhood was built around this foundation of this guy. But he was I was hoping he'd be great, and he was magnificent. So
wow.
It was awesome.
Everything that I see on TV, he seems like a great guy, too. So, and hopefully he'll if we ever have a season, he'll have a good team around him this year.
Hopefully. Right.
That's great. So what's your, let's see. So, we can go all over the place with this, but the top of my mind when you're talking about the Marlins and things, you just had an awesome live event on Fox. Let's tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was super cool. Well, I've done a couple of different ones for Fox. You're talking about the TV show or the telethon?
The telethon.
Okay, so the telethon was for the American Cancer Society. It was last Sunday, but there was definitely a Fox Sports presence. I'm pretty active with the American Cancer Society. One of the books I wrote, I'm a cancer survivor, so I write about it, I speak about it. I am indebted to the American Cancer Society. They've done so much for me and thousands, if not millions of people around the world, around the country. So I was blessed to host a telethon last weekend, a virtual telethon, to raise money for the South Florida area of the American Cancer Society. We called it the Quarantine Classic. And it was 1 hour. non-stop, athlete after athlete joining us. Jason Taylor, John Offerdahl. And by the way, these are all South Florida based. So right. Jason Taylor, John Offerdahl, Mike Lowell played for the Marlins, Bernie Kosar, who played for the Canes, Mike Schmidt, even though he played for the Phillies, he lives down here in South Florida. He's a melanoma survivor like I am. And then we had some broadcasters as well. We had Steve Shapiro from Channel 7, John Crotty, who does the Heat games, Jordana DePaula, who was with she was with Fox Sports for many years. So it was fun and exciting. We raised thousands of dollars. It was a really cool event.
The Kane jersey. Oh, talking about the store. I was looking. I'm a little bit too far for the comments, so I was like, what did that say?
I can read it for you. The Kane jersey is so nice in the back. I can't wait to play in it one day. Oh, that's optimistic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best in putting that jersey on, because we need some sports and we need some people to be in those jerseys.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
But yeah, so if you see any comments, to anybody that's out there, if you want to ask any questions to Dave or any about CanesWear, I guess we can talk about anything. But so I'll rely on you to read them if there's something there for us. All right.
See that you're making me host. Even when I'm not hosting, I still have.
Well, I know you love it so much. I don't want to take you away too far.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But we'll wait and see if Dolphin Derek comes in and asks his usual question. So we'll let that be until we see him comment on that.
Okay.
So
that's good.
So that telethon was really good. That's awesome. And before we get see, there it is.
By the way, the answer is yes. Do I like pineapple on my pizza? Emphatic yes.
Well, that's the question that I was waiting for. So I didn't know if he was in there or not. So that's the question of every guest is, do you like pineapple on your pizza? So there you go, Derek. You got another yes. Well, it's been mixed. We've been more on the side of yes lately than no. So you make Dolphin Derek happy. So
well, good.
when
the Hawaiian
he's happy,
pizza is. I mean, that's one of the best pizzas. Come on.
Okay. I don't know about all that, but
okay.
But so when you were at UM, you did a lot of cool things with WVUM. What was your favorite time doing? What's your favorite event or anything like that?
I was super lucky, as you mentioned. So I was a sportscaster on VUM and got to cover, I'm going to say, hundreds of Canes games over my 4 years: baseball, basketball, and football. We went to the College World Series twice in Omaha. That was amazing to broadcast the College World Series. That was really cool. Just doing Canes football was what a thrill that was, because for a couple of years when I was there, we had a great team. My freshman year, we went to the national championship game but lost. A couple of years after that, we played in the Orange Bowl for, I think it would have been, I don't know if it was a national championship game, but we were in the conversation.
Right.
And lost that one too. So we had some good years that I got to call some great games. I got to do the Big East tournament in basketball from Madison Square Garden because we were in the Big East then. So I don't know. I just think the idea of, I was in high school down here in South Florida, huge Canes fan. And the next thing I know, I'm in the Orange Bowl wearing the headset, calling the games on the radio. It was so awesome.
And you've met a lot of cool people from the UM time too, right? So who's your favorite UM player that you've either interviewed or you followed?
I had two really fun interviews in college. I got to interview Warren Sapp and I got to interview Ray Lewis. And they were both, even though we were roughly the same age, just there were like these larger than life guys on campus. And it was just so neat to just be in their presence. And it taught me a lot about interviewing athletes. And I went to the press conferences and I would interview the head coach, Dennis Erickson, afterwards, and Butch Davis. That was pretty cool. When we would do the baseball games, we had Jim Morris on after every single game, and he was the nicest guy. So I got to interview some pretty sort of high-standing UM greats, which was really, really awesome. This one says, Canes basketball for life. I just hope I could be y'all favorite Canes hooper. One day I could be your favorite Canes hooper. Okay, I hope so too.
Yeah, and we're always looking for the next big thing. So hopefully you're the next big thing.
There you go.
I think he's also the one that said, "Can we get you noticed by UM? we don't have any connections when it comes to that, but we can get you the gear. We can sell you the gear that you can look good and get noticed that way.
Because my whole goal for being on this show was to see if you could get me a tryout for the football team. I was under the impression that you could. I could get some eligibility.
I was gonna say, do you have a year left, or
we'll work around that.
Okay.
You know, there's always like some sort of, oh yeah, I have an extra semester. We'll figure it out.
Right. Okay. Well, what talents do you have? No.
As a football player,
yeah.
I'm good at bringing the Gatorade.
Okay.
You know, I feel like I could be like a backup punter. When do you need a backup? Although UM has had some punting woes.
I was gonna say, we went through how many place kickers last year? I mean,
that's true. That's true. But our punter now with the tattoos, woof. That is a rugged dude. I love it.
Yeah, there's no, definitely that would be the good position for you then, because you know for sure that you're never going to get in.
Right, that's what I'll do. I'll be his backup. Yeah, get me in.
So you were involved in WVUM for a long time, right? Were you involved in any other organizations on campus, or was that your favorite organization?
That was the big one. I was on the cable station UMTV. I wrote for the newspaper. I was in a fraternity. I was in SAMI. So that was pretty great. Enjoyed that very much. And other than that, I worked a lot in college. I interned for Channel 10, WPLG. I interned for WQAM. I was just trying to just get out there and meet as many people as I could. So I was kind of spread out all over the place, but mostly in the journalism universe.
Okay. What was your favorite place on campus?
I guess I would say the Rat. I mean, that's kind of a cop-out, right? Because
everybody can say that, right?
Yeah. What else is there? Although the Rat now, wow. Let me tell you, for some of you younger viewers, people who go to UM now or whatever, our Rat, when we went there, didn't look anything like what it looks like now. This
Not
is
at all.
Magnificent.
Yeah, it's like you go from the size of the brightness of the Titanic to like amazing.
Right. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was still fun, but woof, nothing like what it is now. I think other than that, probably Mark Light. It was called Mark Light Stadium back then, the baseball field, because obviously there was no on-campus basketball. We used to play basketball at the Miami Arena, which doesn't even exist anymore, and we played football at the Orange Bowl. So I think, I don't know, the Rat has to be the go-to.
Well, I didn't know if you would say like maybe the bowling alley that we used to have.
Gosh, no. I actually don't even think I went once. Did you go?
Well, my freshman year, I went on the tour when I was my senior in high school. I went on the tour and I saw there was a bowling alley there. I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And then once I graduated and I got to UM, it was no longer there. They completely took it away. And they made it the convenience store and the bank, I think it is. So it's like, all right, well, okay. So good thing I didn't necessarily care whether we had the bowling alley or not. You know, I didn't want to be on the bowling team. So.
Well, good. I'm glad that it wasn't a total failure, a total waste for you for 4 years.
Yeah, it's still in my blood. All these years later, so I think I did okay.
So I just remember going out, going to the Grove, going to Tavern. Remember Tavern?
Yeah.
The Tavern. Yeah, that was big. Dan Marino's, which that isn't even there anymore. That was another fun spot to go to.
Oh, I don't remember there was one down there. I remember the one in Fort Lauderdale, but I didn't remember the one in...
Yeah, there was one in Coconut Grove.
Okay. And Grove Stomp and all those things.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
So you're very busy with all your stuff that you have going on, but what's your favorite hobby outside of work?
Playing tennis.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I can't get enough. I'm trying to play. I play a couple times a week, every week. Yeah. You would think I'd be better at it by now, but no.
It's all about having fun, right?
Yeah, unless you double faults a couple of times. Then it's not very fun at that moment.
So do you have regular people that you play, or is it...
Yeah, I have a few games. I play on Saturdays, and then I play usually... I played yesterday. I'm playing again tomorrow, so that'll be 3 times this week.
Wow.
Now the world is... everything's been so weird.
Right.
I'm primarily working from home now, so I can disappear for an hour in the middle of the day and go play tennis or play in the morning, and then come back and just work till whenever. So it's, look, for you as well, we've all had to adapt our lives to this.
Yeah, I mean, that's how this show came about, trying to figure out what to do when I'm not traveling so much for work, How about promote everybody in their businesses? Here we
I
are.
love this. So I'm fascinated by this as a host and a guy who coaches hosts. So had you ever done any broadcasting before, any hosting before?
Not a thing, nothing. So, I just started out and had JC as the first guest, and just been learning ever since and just trying different things. And, I came up with these questions just to make sure, I had no idea what I was doing. I've just watched a couple of YouTube videos and, took some pointers from here or there. And so maybe after this, you're probably going to say, well, you did this and you did that. And I'll take all the constructive criticism.
Well, where are your questions? Are they strategically placed somewhere around the camera?
They are. So the camera is up here, and then I have the questions right below, because I always forget the name of my own show. So it's right in both big letters, Canes Alumni Biz by CanesWear, and then I have the questions.
Good.
So
yeah, you don't want to get the name of the show wrong or the guest wrong. And I can tell you this as a guy who's done both of those things in my career. So
right.
Yeah,
it's like going to a music concert and the artist thinks that you're in Seattle when you're actually in Miami, right?
Right. But this would be even worse if you got your own show wrong. That'd be like the artist getting their own band name wrong. that would be pretty bad.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. So so if you could change one thing that you did or didn't do at UM, is there anything that you would go back and say, man, I wish I would have done that, or man, I shouldn't have done that?
See, look at you. What a great question. Look at that. That's a great question. What would I have done differently at UM? I don't know. I do think that I might have worked a little too hard. I had a good time, don't get me wrong. I was in a fraternity, but I really worked hard, which I'm glad I did. But, some of my best friends wouldn't go to class if it was overcast.
Right.
Forget raining.
Right.
Oh, it's cloudy. I might get wet if I go to class. I'm just going to play Nintendo. And now they're killing it in the business world, but they had the greatest time for 4 years. So I don't know. Maybe I would have taken things a little less seriously. But I'm so blessed, man. Honestly, I'm in a career that I love, and that's in large part because of what I learned at UM. I made great friends who I'm still friendly with today. So I just feel super lucky. Let me tell you, when people ask me about UM, I'll talk about it for a half an hour. I'll tell any kid to go there if they can. I love that school so much.
Feelings mutual there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a great, it's a beautiful campus. It's a great location. It's a great tradition. The education's terrific. I'm such an advocate, such a fan.
And you don't get lost because it's a right size where there's somebody for everybody, but you don't have to
right.
Other than the 101 classes like biology where there was like 300 people in that class, but other than that, everything was nice size. You felt like you were part of something always. So
I will say, while we're talking about how great UM is, I will say on a personal level, because I told you that I'm a cancer survivor, UM also saved my life.
Oh, wow.
I had surgery. I had 2 surgeries at Sylvester. And the surgeon and the first surgery went more aggressively than he had to, just because he wanted to be sure and had a hunch. And because of that, he found stuff that he might otherwise had not found, and really saved my life. So when I talk about how much I love UM, I mean it wholeheartedly.
Right. You go to the extra level then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do anything to promote them outside of the telethons or anything like that?
Well, I have a baby boy who is 1 month old on Thursday.
Oh, congratulations.
And, he's got 4 or 5 different Hurricane jerseys already. This was a gift for him. This was a gift somebody got me. It's his name is Miles. So it's a University of Miami baseball that has his name on it, which
very nice.
I love. Yeah. So believe me, he's going to be a Canes fan. Believe me.
Okay.
He has no choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, hopefully, yeah. There was somebody that came in on Sunday that she has to be converted from an FSU fan because her husband is a UM grad and her daughter is now, going for the Canes. She's like, well, I guess I got to do it. I'm like, yeah, you kind of do. You got to jump all in. You can't just be half and half. You got to.
I watched. I on ESPN a couple of weeks ago. They had the 1992 Miami FSU game, which was my freshman year, which was at the time the coolest sporting event I had ever been to. Freshman Miami. I think FSU was #1 and Miami was #2 in the country, I believe. Maybe I have it the other way around. Top 2 teams in the country, and that was one of the wide right games. That was wide right 2. And to be there as a freshman, pledging my fraternity with these new great friends of mine, just thinking like, I can't believe this is my life.
Right.
It's phenomenal. And of course, the fact that it was beating Florida State makes it even better.
Yep. Yeah. Watching those on TV, it's like, it seems like it was just yesterday, but then it seems like it was not, right? So,
right.
And then just to think about the Orange Bowl the way it was, and now it's been Marlins Park for what, 12 years or something crazy like that. It's like, it doesn't compute up there.
Right. True. So true.
But so getting back to what you're doing now. So during this time that you said you're working from home a lot, where are you spending most of your time? Is there anything that you necessarily would like to promote to anybody that's watching out here?
Oh, sure. Of course, we'd be happy to. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a public speaking and media coach. So if anybody's watching and they want to be a more confident and dynamic public speaker, they want to host a podcast or a TV show, or they want to sit on a panel, or even if they struggle with virtual Zoom presentations, because a lot of people have come to me not knowing how to manufacture energy or feel like they're connected if they're not in the same room as somebody. So if you have any challenges or concerns, I would be happy to coach you or your company. You can get all the information you want at my website, which is just daveaizer.com, DAVEAIZER.com. And you can always email me at dave@daveaizer.com. You can call me, 786-471-2387.
Oh, wow. Look at that. You've been giving out his phone number online.
Whatever you need.
Look at that. Wow. That's impressive. All right. No secrets here.
Yeah. What else, man? Fire away. What do you got?
It was funny that, No, I was just thinking when you were saying that what your email address was, and you told me that yesterday. And as soon as like 2 seconds later, I'm like, so what email address do you use? And I'm like, oh, wait a second. You already told me what that email address was. So as soon as when you said that, it just like popped into my brain from the night before.
The more hosting you do, you'll find that you're going to hear stuff and retain stuff that otherwise, like normally might have gone in one ear, not the other. So what I mean by that is I've hosted shows, live shows, with an IFB in my ear and a director talking to me while you, the guest, are answering my questions.
Right.
While the stage manager is wrapping me up because we have to go to commercial, and there's all kinds of other ambient noise happening anyway. And you're like in the zone, and you hear everything the director's saying, you hear everything the guest is saying, you're aware of what time it is. Yeah, it's just a skill. You'll see as you progress and you do more hosting, you're going to get really good at listening and reacting and asking follow-up questions. It's really fun, man. It's such a cool thing to embark upon for you.
I'm liking it so far, and having guests like you is great. So, the interaction is fantastic. And so when all of this is over and you can actually go somewhere, where's the first place you would like to vacation?
I have to ask my wife. Hey, babe, where would we vacation when all this is over? You're on live Instagram. Well, you're not on, but
your voice is sort of on.
Your voice is sort of on. She says, I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's a good place. It's right around the corner from maybe.
She just said somewhere by the beach. We live by the beach. I would say, can I say Colorado? I want to go to Colorado.
Which part?
She said no. I guess I'm going by myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to go there. We've been there. I've been there a bunch of times. But one thing I have never done, and I don't know if you have or if anyone who's watching has ever done this, I want to hear about it. I love music, and I've never been to Red Rocks. And that is a bucket list. So
funny story there. I don't know how funny it is, but I was over there for work in Colorado Springs. And then I drove up to Denver and went to Red Rocks. And they could get to the entrance, but you couldn't go in, because some group was doing a sound check there and they would not let anybody in. So that was my one shot at being there to see what it looked like, how awesome it would be, and couldn't go down there.
What a bummer.
But it was beautiful there. You could sort of see what it looked like, how it's carved out of the mountain, and it looks really cool. And so what did I do? I just went on the internet and looked at pictures. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what it looks like.
Just as good.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
but then I drove to Vail too that same trip, and it was like, wow, this is really cool too. It was in the summer, so it was nice. But yeah, so it's beautiful out there. So if you go by yourself, you'll enjoy it. If you go with the family, you'll enjoy it. So
yeah, I think I would like to go. My bucket list vacation spot is Wimbledon. I had mentioned my love for tennis. I would love to go to center court and watch Federer play. But if I want to do that, I probably have about 1 year left.
yeah.
So I guess I got to go next summer to Wimbledon.
Or you can just go to the Hard Rock and see him there.
Right. Yeah. I go to that tournament every year. When it was in Key Biscayne, it was gorgeous. And I went last year. Obviously got canceled this year. But Wimbledon for me, man. Oof,
right.
It'd be hard to beat that.
Well, to answer your question, I actually was thinking the other day that if I had this pandemic to do all over again from when it started, I would take the advice of Hawaii and say that if you come here, you have to do a 14-day quarantine. So I would fly over there, rent a house for a month, and then just work from the house, just like I would work from here, have the 14 days, and then go exploring for 14 days, and then maybe come back eventually.
Maybe. Have you? So you've never been to Hawaii? Or?
I have. I actually went, and I stayed on the Big Island for 5 or 6 days, and then flew over to Honolulu and went to Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
And it was absolutely amazing. So beautiful.
Isn't that life changing?
Yeah, I did not want to come back to the U.S. To the mainland, I should say. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. We had the best time, and going to Pearl Harbor is really, it just gives you perspective, and to just be on those grounds, it gives you an appreciation if you didn't already have it for what our servicemen and women do for us.
Right. And you get to see, it puts everything, like you said, it puts everything in perspective. You can see how everything was laid out and how everybody was just right there.
Yeah.
It was
powerful.
It was very powerful. And then go to the cemetery as well and see everything that was there. So pretty moving experience.
For sure.
But so any advice that you have for either current students or recent grads in your field or just in their time at UM?
Well, I think in my field, if somebody, let's say, has graduated from UM or is graduating from UM, hey, bring him over. You want to see my son?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll bring him over. He's drooling. Oh, he's drooling. Well, so's Dad, so it's fine. Okay, so here's Miles. Here's my baby boy.
Wow. Hello, Miles. Welcome
Say
to the
hi,
internet.
Say hi, everyone. Say go Canes. Okay. Well, here he is. He loves all things UM.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He has his baseball right.
Right. I know. I showed the baseball.
Yeah.
So I would say if you've just graduated UM or you're graduating and you're a broadcasting major like I was and you want to be on camera like I did, what I would say is it's very important to have a diverse skill set, because back when I graduated UM, if you were a host, you would go somewhere and you would just be a host. You'd be on camera. Now, a lot of markets are expecting you to be able to shoot and be able to edit and be able to write and be able to produce and do social media content. So the idea of, I'm going to go somewhere and be on camera, unless you're phenomenal or people, chances are, yeah, you'll be on camera, but you're also going to be doing a ton of other stuff. So I would say just understand that the first job you get, there might be more grunt work than you might have thought. But I got news for you. If you don't want to do it, they're going to find somebody else who will.
Right.
So I would say do
it. That's good advice, because you can't just go all the way to the top at the beginning, right? You got to learn the ropes and learn everything that you can before you get to the top. So I actually had a question that was in my mind. In your field, there's a ton of people that want to be a broadcaster. There's a ton of people that want to be on TV. But it seems like their career ends up being, unless you're like Tony Segreto or Jackie Nesprawl or those big names, you're only there for like 2-3 years, then you go somewhere else. What's that like, as far as you just have to continue to reinvent yourself?
Yeah, it's challenging. For all of the really cool, exciting things about being on camera, because from the looks of it, it's a super glamorous job. And look, I've done it for 25 years. I'm blessed. People see, oh, look at this person on live TV and interviewing celebrities and covering huge events, and it's great. And it is. There is that. There is the uncertainty that you speak about. If the ratings aren't good, even if it's no fault of your own, guess what? You might be fired, or a show might get canceled.
Right.
And then what? It's not a career for you if you crave stability and job security. If you crave excitement and a rush, it is. But if you're looking for something that's just going to keep you 9 to 5, steady, in 20 years, 30 years at the same place, it can happen. Steve Shapiro is a good friend of mine. He's been at WSVN for, I think, now 25 years. He's great. So, but he's kind of the rare story, like you were just mentioning with Jackie and Tony. So it's hard. I was on out of college. I got a great job. I was hosting a game show on Nickelodeon called Slime Time Live in Orlando, which was this amazing experience, super cool. And it lasted 5 years, and it was every day, more or less, for 5 years. And I was jaded. I thought, oh, this is how every show is going to be.
Right.
This is great. So I moved to Los Angeles, and I was in for a wake-up call because it's not how it was in LA. Shows, you shoot a pilot, you get super excited, then the pilot doesn't get picked up. You shoot an episode of a show that does get picked up, but it lasts one season. Or you don't book the audition and you wait for the phone to ring. And then you're bouncing around. So it's tough, man. But I will say there are so many other options now for you to be on camera rather than just be on TV. Look what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're doing an Instagram from our telephones. So if you want to be on camera, don't wait for Channel 10 or Channel 7 or ESPN or Fox to call you. Take your phone, press record, and now you're creating content. And you got to be good at it, obviously, and have good content, but anyone can do it now.
And a topic that everybody wants to hear.
A topic that you're really proficient at. I think it's important to be niche. Because to me, for somebody to just say, okay, I'm going to be a host, I'm going to have a YouTube channel. What are you going to talk about? Whatever I want. Okay, but with all due respect, unless you know what you're talking about, unless you're an expert of some sort, why do I care? Unless you're super, super funny, right? Then, okay, maybe. But by and large, I think, you need to have expertise. And, I mean, look at you. You built a show around what you know.
Right.
And it's working because you're an expert in that field. So I do think that, yes, you have a platform now to do whatever you want, but I think that you should, before you just press record, you should put some thought into how am I an expert? What are my differentiators? How can I help the viewer? And Steve, the writer, says hello. Hello, Steve.
Yeah. Do you know Steve, the writer?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So what's up for you next? What's the next big thing for Dave?
The next big thing for Dave, I am going to build an online course for public speaking. So I got to figure that out. That hopefully will launch in the next few months. I'd like to do a few different levels of it, kind of like an introductory, an intermediate, then an expert advanced level of public speaking and broadcasting. That's next for me. And hi, Gabriella. And other than that, let's see. Probably too late, as we've discussed, for me to play for the Canes, unless you can somehow get me in as backup punter. So I don't know, maybe leaving my house for a few hours, that would be good.
Well, your tennis is the only time you're allowed out. No, nothing else.
More tennis. That's what's for me. More tennis. Yes. What's next for you?
You're looking at it. CanesWear reopening sports. Well, CanesWear has been open for about a month. So not everybody knows, but I also have a day job. So I haven't been traveling a lot at all, obviously. And but I used to travel all the time. So some sort of halfway normalcy of doing all that. And then, just having everything come back to the way it was so that we have the fun that we have here at the store and everybody coming in and being all excited for the games that they're going to. July 8th is Inter-Miami soccer. I'm pointing because you can see, which you can't see. But in front of me is our whole Inter-Miami soccer section. And July 8th is the first game back for the MLS, and we're actually playing it against Orlando. In Orlando, so it's kind of a away game, even though everybody's away. But so we're looking forward to that, and then July 30th with basketball, everything is coming back, and then obviously the big thing is football, right? So whenever we can have the games, of whether we can go there or not, looking forward to an awesome season.
Yeah, we need football. Oh, man, we need football.
Yep. It's funny, if you don't have the spring, it's like, oh well, we wouldn't have had football right now anyway. But
yeah, but
but
I love baseball, and this nonsense with Major League Baseball is ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah, it's alienating the fans that are left.
Right. I mean, didn't they learn their lesson when they pulled this 20 years, whatever, 04, 14, 25, 26 years ago when they did this?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Come on, let's go.
Yep, agreed. I was just talking to somebody the other day about how it's changed from when we were watching it as kids to now. All of the strategy that was there, you watch a game and you can figure out what you would do during this, during the count, or send the runner, small ball versus hoping that there's a home run to get back into it. And it's a completely different game from when we were watching it back in the 80s.
I'll tell you, if you're a baseball fan, one of the things that I do every year, which I love, I play in a fantasy camp with two of my buddies.
Oh, wow.
It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. Every year we go to Phoenix. We play in the Cleveland Indians fantasy camp because one of my friends is from Cleveland. And I've been 4 years in a row now. Hopefully they'll have it again in January. But it's, man, for anyone watching who's like a middle-aged guy or girl, there's plenty of ladies there playing ball. Yeah, it's an awesome, awesome trip.
I remember hearing when the Orioles and the Yankees were here, they had them in Fort Lauderdale, right where Inter Miami is now. They used to have it right there.
Most teams have them.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's a great week. Somebody just said, my son is an unemployed baseball umpire. How do you think he feels? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure he's furious. It's come on, let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's play these games already.
Yeah, I mean, they're losing all the revenue that we're losing, and everybody else is, it's like, hello, how are you supposed to be getting all this money when there's no money to be had?
Yeah, and the other sports seem to be figuring it out begrudgingly, but they're figuring it out.
Right. It's not what anybody wants, but you gotta figure something out.
For sure.
So once again, tell us your email and your social media name so that everybody can find you.
Okay, so email super simple, dave@daveaizer.com. Aizer is AIZER. Social media is Dave Aizer across the board on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Twitter, although I don't really go on Twitter, but that's me.
So as long as you spell Aizer right, then you're good.
That's the key, AIZER. Once you have done that, the doors will open. Yes.
Right. Then you can find Dave wherever you possibly can expect or want to. So any last words that you can think of that you would like to say to our viewers?
I guess go Canes. That's pretty obvious. I would just, I don't know. I mean, I can just tell you, just in terms of the things that we've talked about in this half hour or however long it is, I just know that I'm grateful and blessed for all of the experiences I've been able to accrue from UM and beyond. I owe so much of my happiness professionally and personally to the University of Miami. So I value my relationship with UM so much. And I'm just excited to be on the show and happy to talk about UM. And whenever you need me, just reach out.
Hey, if you ever want to guest host, you're more than welcome.
This is your gig, man. You're the host.
Yeah.
I will leave you with this lesson. It's sort of like the Cal Ripken lesson. Or who is Wally Pipp, I guess.
I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Yes. So when you're a host and you're working and you're on your show and you're feeling it and you take a couple of days off and some other dude comes in and replaces you and all of a sudden the ratings are higher or there's more viewers, maybe you don't get the show back.
Right.
And it's happened, man. I can tell you TV hosts, there's some of the more resilient folks out there. They will work with anything. I hosted shows with laryngitis because I was like, no way someone else is coming in and getting better ratings even accidentally.
Right.
So just hold on tight, my friend, to your gig.
All right. I will do that. We may see Brett next to me every once in a while, but we'll hold on to it.
Yeah. As long as you can have someone with you, but as long as you don't go anywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds good. So before I let you go, you always have to do the ceremonial. Got to do the U.
Of course.
And then we got the U. Go Canes.
Go
and
Canes.
Thank you very much for coming on. It was fantastic, and you're always welcome. And hopefully we'll see you here at the store too.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Take care. Be well.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.